There's a lot of play in that. There's a lot of flexibility in that. And you know my theory, Chris. We talked about it not long ago. How do we explain the first-round pick last year? And yesterday, Howie Roseman was asked about ignoring the board and didn't deny it, danced around it.
Right.
I think that Howie Roseman is the in-house fall guy. I don't have anything to base this on other than circumstantial evidence, common sense, and an understanding of how organizations operate. I think Howie Roseman is the in-house fall guy to do the bidding of Jeffrey Lurie when he has a board different from the board that the people he pays to make the board have come up with.
Sure. I don't doubt that. I don't. I mean, listen, he's got to listen to the owner. That's for sure. Jeffrey Lurie seems like he's, definitely an owner that's around a lot and is trying and is learning football and all the things that go into that and wants to be involved somehow. I got no issue with that either, Mike. I'm like you. As long as you're, involved all the time, not just like coming in off your private plane and being like, who we picking? Oh, him? No, don't pick him. I was watching college football last October on a random Saturday. I want the other guy. That's the ones I have the problem with, where it's like you don't know anything. I don't know. You weren't here. How do you know what guy to pick? That's the owners that I have issues with. So, yeah, Howie Roseman certainly got to be careful of that. Are you trying to say you think like Lurie drafted Rieger last year and all that? Is that what you're trying to kind of say there?
I'm trying to explain and understand deviations from the board.
Yeah.
It's either Howie going off the board on his own, or it's Howie going off the board because the guy who has kept Howie in place through multiple regimes, and for whatever reason, there's this perception that Howie is untouchable, that Howie is the guy that allows Jeffrey Lurie to tinker with the draft board, to get the guys he thinks are the best fits for the team without ever being publicly perceived as a meddler. And I can look at this and I could say, you know what? If you want to do that, just make yourself the general manager like Jerry Jones did.
Yeah.
But that isn't going to fly in Philly. One of my favorite sayings, the only thing better than being rich and famous is being rich. The more Jeffrey Lurie can stay away from the fray, the less chance he assumes of becoming as reviled as the individuals who make the bad decisions. Wasn't my decision. Well, I'm not the GM.
Yeah, I hear you.
He's got an ear. It gets back to this. People think that owners aren't involved. Baloney. They're involved, especially in the first round. This is their organization. They're the ones paying the money. This is the guy that's either going to lift or kill the franchise over the next several years. Of course the owners are involved, and if they're not, they should be. But Lurie may be more involved.
Sounds like it.
Listen, look at it this way. If you're watching all-star games and watching tape and taking the time to gather the information, what are you going to do with that information? You're going to do what anyone else does that does all that. What do? You make a list of your players that you like at the various positions. So Lurie's got his list.
Yeah.
And I think Lurie's got his. Scouts have theirs.
Sure.
And I think Howie's the one who harmonizes it. And his ongoing employment may be best explained by the fact that he's running interference for Jeffrey Lurie's side gig of being amateur Mel Kiper, who also happens to own a football team.
I don't doubt you there, Mike. I don't. I'm sure Howie's had to take a few, right hooks to the face at Jeffrey Lurie's expense in the media and things like that. I don't question that at all. I don't know if I'm going to buy it for last year with Jalen Rieger because we've just heard too much around the NFL. I know both of us have to think like, no, it sounds like it's Howie. I think that's one where if it was the owner's pick, it had kind of gotten out a little bit.
Not if, hey.
I know, maybe not.
Not if Howie is fully and completely protecting Jeffrey Lurie.
That's right.
That's my point.
I get you.
If you're so committed to taking the bullet for Jeffrey Lurie and your reward is you don't get fired when everything goes sideways, that may be the best way to explain why he hasn't gotten fired.
It could
because
be.
If Lurie hires a new GM, he's got to start from scratch with that relationship where you have nuance and subtlety. And maybe you've got a general manager who, when you try to tell him what to do, tells you to go to hell.
Right.
I'm the general manager. You hired me. Look at my contract. I've got final say over the draft. You got a problem with that? Fire me and buy out my contract. but you hired me to do this job, Mr. Lurie. I expect you to respect that. You got to start from scratch with that relationship. He's got a guy, if my theory's right, and I kind of think it is, he's got a guy who will do what he wants him to do.
Sure.
And it's comfortable.
Yeah.
It's simple. It works.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it doesn't work. They won a Super Bowl, though.
They did.
They won a Super Bowl, so maybe it does work.
No, I know. Listen, I mean, I don't look at the Eagles as a poorly run organization, that's for sure. And like I said, I got no problem with Jeffrey Lurie sitting there doing all those type of things. And a lot of times with those kind of scenarios, if the guy is involved a little bit in football and know that, like, it's good to have another pair of eyes and ears in those type of meetings. One thing that can happen with coaches and scouts, they're in the weeds of the game so much, and, they overanalyze, like we've talked about, and all that type of stuff, to where, like, I have friends in the NFL, right? I have like 4 or 5 guys that I really talk ball with, like really talk ball. And sometimes they'll say, we're talking about 2 players, and they're telling me about 2 players, and they like this one guy a little more than the other guy. But the guy they like less, they keep saying, like, all these good things about, and they compare him to a better player, and the guy they like more, there's some things they say good, but you can also hear a few things that you're like, wait, he said a few concerning things there. Is he listening to the words that are coming out of his mouth here? And that's sometimes where that value can be, good. We go, hey, listen, you kind of just said this, to me, are you sure about what you're saying there? It sounds like you like this guy more, or you see something in this guy more, and you're just being a hair nitpicky or something like that. So that's where it can be helpful. But yeah, Eagles, big draft, really big draft for them to kind of get back on track here.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.